creates some great music from your heart and it explodes. And that's wonderful. But before you get to that point, who's going to pay for the studio time and how you're going to fund that? How you're going to, even though we're primarily streaming based now, we still, so I'm really curious to know how Zachary feels. And then, as Ron alluded to, and I think is very important, great to make money, it's better to keep money. So how is it that we put financial protections in place for our ITs? So I'd really prefer to hear from Zachary. And
all right, so we're going to throw it to Zachary, but just before we throw it to Zachary, so we announced just now the song and the song title, and Carlet must be saying, oh no, but that's Leopold. You must have been saying that, Carlet. No, that's Leopold. All right, so that was Leopold, and the song was titled Pieces. Brilliant song, Leopold. Brilliant song. All right, Zachary, I throw the question of financing to you.
Sure. So first of all, there's two components to it. One is this is a business. So we have to accept and realize that this is the music business. So there is a component of structure that is necessary on the business side of things in order to make sure that the finances can be managed properly. But on the other side of it, the focal point of what we're talking about is an artist. And by definition, that is a creative person who is creating art. So the movie logline always goes like this. I'm a wicked singer. I have a dream and I have a passion. I have a message that I need to bring to the world, but I don't have the money. So I need Carlet to sponsor me so I can realize my vision. No different than saying, you know what, I want to be a professional football player, but I don't have the money and I can't survive just by going and playing Premier League. So I need somebody to invest in me to help me to become, a revenue generating income stream. In order to do that, the artist therefore needs to prove that they have the ability to earn. Because looking at it now from my private equity, investor finance hat, I can't just get up and say, I'm just going to sponsor you on for the sake of it. I have to believe in you on, or believe that he's going to make a return on my investment. That's a part that's really missing, because a lot of people don't look at it like, okay, if you were to invest $50,000 in me, here is how I can pay you back. I'm going to use that. I'm going to spend 20 grand, go in studio. I'm going to make 5 singles. I'm going to do my promos. I'm going to shoot some music videos. I'm going to get my YouTube and Twitter, my socials up. And I have some bookings that I've lined up. And then I'm going to get 10 bookings and go on tour Europe and Africa out of this. But I'm going to charge 20 grand per booking. That's $200,000, but it's going to cost me 10 grand per booking to go. So I'm going to net $100,000, and therefore I can pay you back your $50,000 plus a 20% return and still keep some money for myself. That is a type of argument and discussion that we need to be having, because without that, it's called gambling and it's called philanthropy. And you're basically being a philanthropist and just giving money to somebody because you want to support them. And that's not the business component of the music industry. So you do have to have some, a bit of a plan and a strategy around that.
Where is there?
Sorry, if I may add to that very briefly. Zachary
yes,
is 100% right. And one of the challenges that are faced is that the creatives do not have the, for lack of a better word, the structure to put forth a proposal to equity financiers. And so they need a good manager who can do it. And if the manager is a sister, a friend who's trustworthy, but not competent, you need to find someone who can, right? So this is why, from my perspective, as much as there is a vibe, and I would be the first one to say vibe is the most important component. After that, you need structure.
And I just want to add on to that before you come back in, right? So Carlet is correct. And I want to just switch the verbiage a little bit away from structure to management.
Yes.
Right. So one of the greatest artist managers of our time is this brother named Jeremy Harding. Right. I think I'm related to him. That's what my parents told me, but I wasn't there when the event happened. So, but in terms of being a manager, he's just one of the greatest managers of all time. He managed Sean Paul. I signed Sean initially and I managed him initially, but then I went on to work in corporate. Jeremy took Sean and made Sean and managed Sean rather into what he became. Scarlett was a part of that team. Scarlett was with Headline and they handle all of the PR and all the booking for Sean. So that administrative managerial structure has to complement the natural raw talent of the artist because it took a mind like Jeremy, who also happens to be a dope ass producer, but it took a mind like him to be able to structure the business components and said, no, here are the business decisions that we need to make. This is when the album needs to be put out. This is how much we're going to spend to produce this. This is what we're not going to spend money on. This is a deal that we're going to sign. This is what we're not going to sign. And those business management components are what make and create superstars.
Mm-hmm. There was a time when management and artist management, and these are the days when you know, college, we used to talk more often and work together, as I'm in the media and you in the business of management. And it's but I remember I was doing the entertainment programs here at IRFM. I remember when the artists started talking about, I don't need a manager. I'm sure you remember that. That was in the late 90s, was it? Just what, or mid 90s, when the artists started recognizing that they did not necessarily need a manager. But we seem to be at a place now where those decisions obviously would have been wrong decisions, but they worked for some artists, didn't they? But here we are. They didn't? College, you're saying no?
No, I'm saying no. I say it seemed to work for a short period of time, but they didn't have a manager to defend it or an attorney to make sure it was there. And I think that movement that I don't need a manager, I can manage myself and such, came out of the fact that unfortunately, many, not all, many, some managers either were not competent to the position and did not say to themselves, listen, I know you trust me, but let me bring in this person to support. Let me hire this person to augment the team, build the team, scale up the team. Or worse, they were stealing from the artists. Because let us be real, back in the day, a lot of the managers weren't in the music business to help artists or to build a business. They were there to clean other things. Yeah. So right then and there, a lot of artists found themselves being shafted, being stolen from, and such. And so it does not work. An artist, in my mind, and some artists are very savvy and can definitely be more involved, but artists need management. Full stop.
Yeah. What were some of the legal issues? Yes, go ahead, Ronald, because I was actually just coming to you. Just remember what you were going to say, and then out of all of that situation where artists are managing themselves and doing everything, what are some of the legal issues that you saw arising from this? But go ahead.
I mean, there would be numerous, not understanding contracts, not being able to understand the income streams that are, or to understand the meaning of royalties and how royalties work, whether it's a synchronization license they're getting versus a mechanical license. There are technical terms within the music industry that if you are coming in for the first time, you're just not going to understand. You may be exceedingly talented, but you're not going to understand when you look at a contract and think that you're signing on because you see a figure, for example. I'll give you a perfect example. A lot of artists, especially back in fans of 10,000 US, and they're like, yeah, man, this is it. I've got it made in the shade. And then they don't look at the fact that these advances are recoupable by the record labels from royalties, and that there are all these deductions from royalties that you're going to make that sometimes you end up with little and nothing at the end of the day, and all your money is taken back through a contract that is not in your favor. And so going in blind, going in without a manager, a good manager, to say, hey, you're singing gunman tune, but you're a pretty boy and you have a good voice. Maybe you should be singing girl songs. You know what I mean? These are things that good managers are supposed to do and structure. I want to take it back one step further in relation to what Zachary and Scarlett were saying. I look at Jamaican artists as NBA, and not as basketball players, exceedingly talented basketball players. Jamaica has the most talented musicians, artists, writers in the world. But to get into the NBA, only a few people reach that stage. Many talented, but only few reach to the top. And reaching to the top is a combination of having talent, working exceedingly hard, understanding how to take management and direction to listen to people. And so, and also you have to ask, I think for managers, you have, and I ask artists this very often, what is success to you? Because success to one artist, maybe I want to be on the #1 Billboard charts internationally. And I need you, Zachary, and you, Carlet, and you, Daddy Barnes, or whoever else to get me there. And another artist is happy if their song plays on a local radio and they can and they have two singles out and they can go to their neighborhood and say, hey, I'm an artist. And so you have to decide as a manager or as a financial advisor, who are you going to take off? Because not everybody wants what you think they do. And so that's also important.
And as my brother Jeremy always said, because I'd got to him and be like, yo, I just voice I done with this artist, and bad, yo, you lyrically gifted, and he'd be like, exactly. This is not a talent show. This is not a talent contest. Right?
And in fact, I read something that Jeremy wrote very keenly when he was talking just about that people, what some dancehall and reggae artists consider success, is not success if you're talking about it from a financial and an international and making a mark on the world level. That doesn't mean that it's not success to them, because they can pop champagne one evening at a party. But what is success for you? And if you want international success, you're going to have to do a lot different things than just being a local artist. You're going to have to listen more. You're going to have to learn more.
Let me bring in Daddy Barnes here, because he as an artist was got international success. And obviously, so he would be able, I think he's rightly placed to help us to understand what is it that so many of our artists are missing, or what it is that we are missing in this space.
Exposure. Exposure meaning don't wait until the artist is on a certain level to expose them to the markets. You need to get him out there, because times change. We spend on promotion, because we're our own label. So if we need to get something done in New York, we have to head to New York. Even if, well, now you can do things on Zoom, but still you need to connect with the markets and be on the ground. And what I found about a lot of young talents, they don't know how to acquire the right paperwork just to leave the island for a promotional trip. So they always wait on a booking, you know, and that's not necessary. You can get a visitor's visa to have a meeting with a record label, with an agency, a CAAR, who, you know, anybody who they want to work with in America. And also just to go out there and get the exposure, and also figure out how to align those new partners with your team that you're working with. You know, so
add something to that when that is
yes.
Critical component to that, what he's talking about, is really building a brand. Right?
Building a brand, yeah.
Building your brand. Yes. Because you want to build and create a brand and then expose that brand so that you are attracting the right audience and the right interest, right? So you don't want to have exposure if it's a wrong exposure. You can't be trying to, as Ron is saying, you know, like go after like a hardcore gunman market, but you're like a real sweet boy with like a high-pitched voice, you know? No offense to Chris Martin, because Chris Martin is my singer, but Chris Martin wouldn't really do so well on a gunman tune with Skeng, right?
I agree.
So you have to make sure that you're building your brand, and that your brand is authentic, and it's also synergistic with what it is that your creative content is that you're putting out, and that you can.
So do you need assistance? Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt, Zachary, but then do you need assistance with this building of the brand, and what kind of assistance?
Yes, that's where the management comes in. Yes. That is what Barnes spends a lot of time doing. People might not see it, but he's selecting and saying, no, Chronix, we can't go to that show in Toronto with that LGBT thing, you know, because that's going to cause problems. We have to go on this show here, or you know, whatever decisions that he's making along the way, he's also trying to make sure that the image is maintained. All right, I have 3 songs that I've written. All right, cool. Let me listen to them. Yo, this one right now, I don't think that this one going to catch right now, but because of where we are now politically, this one now would, get more attention, and it's going to keep you in line with what it is that you've been preaching, and, it's consistent with what you've been saying. So he's part of his role is to be building that brand.
So what does it take then, Daddy Barnes? Because does it mean then that the artist has to have, trust in the manager, but also a particular type of personality? What happens to ego in that situation?
Well, ego is there and thing, but what they need to do is just to ensure that their creative plan is being executed with the manager, And also, just for me, being a manager is also just keeping the wheels turning, in the right motion. So definitely.
Khaled, we're getting from Jeannie Sweetness on YouTube, says there needs to be management classes in 2022.
I agree. Or just
Yes,
sessions.
yes. Absolutely. What has been happening so far in the absence of structure, in the absence of a school dedicated to this locally, is that we have formed alliances, right? I can pick up the phone and call Zachary and ask him a question. I can go outside and make a U-turn and ask one a question. I alluded to a joke about you and I having our 5 a.m. conversations, where he provides guidance and such. What we do is teach each other, elder to young and to elder and such, in a very informal way, which, like we said, has served us well so far. But without a doubt, I do believe that there should be, and there are programs, without a doubt. Endermanly does have an arts management program, and I have been able to participate in that program. But we need to have that real world experience, and we need to have the benefit of policy in the public sector, as well as support from the private sector to make it happen. It's all well and good that you go to school and you read in a book that this is how it should be, and then you hit the road and you run into a visa issue because you didn't know that you needed this document, or you didn't know that you have to run down this, and then you have to beg for help, as opposed to having that structure be available to you in school, or that structure be available to you from a government policy supported lobby organization. We just need that.
So this takes us right back to where we started, which is what's happening in the nation. What is the nation state doing in terms of a structure? And I think the Ministry of Culture is one of the facilitators of the discussion this evening. I'm sure they're hearing there's so much work to do. I want to talk about contracts. We're getting lots of comments online and from the different platforms and so on, but I really don't want to go into those before we talk about contracts and the importance of understanding what you're getting into, the need for legal advice. Let me just throw it right around. I see you call it on contracts, the different types of contracts, because they are, and especially, Ronald, within the digital age.
Okay, sure. So I don't know if Carlet wanted to add something before.
No, I wanted to add a question, which is, if I'm a young artist and I'm not yet in a position, so that's it.
Okay. Well, I mean, the truth is I've been involved in the entertainment industry since the age of 17, before I even became an attorney. As Carlet mentioned, doing events, and as Zachary mentioned, doing events and getting, so I'm very ingrained in it. And so I understand how the industry works. So as an attorney, I don't deal with fees in the same way that I do with other types of clients. There's a lot more flexibility there because I understand how artists earn money. And so sometimes you work with artists that you benefits of these types of you as an artist, you have less people to deal with. you can just deal with this one entity who's doing your booking and your management and so on. And so if you have any issues, you usually have one point of contact. It's a little tidier. And of course, you only have one entity that's accounting to you for monies that are earned. So it may cause less confusion there. But there are downfalls to that 360 deal. One of them is that you're dealing with only one entity. So if that entity is either unscrupulous, bad at their job, unliked, then you're stuck in a contract with a horrible company that you're doing business with, and that can lead to your career going absolutely nowhere. The other thing is, very often in these 360 contracts, there's what you call cannibalization of income. That means that sometimes someone would take, for example, your performance income when you go on stage and perform. That entity would take 20% management fee from you for your performance, but they may also take a 15% booking fee from you for the same performance. And so you have to ensure
10%, 10%, no more than 10%.
In these deals, sometimes the companies are good at something, they're great at being a record label, but they're horrible at being a booking agent. And so what it really looks at, one of the things that if I may, I use 5 points when looking at all contracts that I think are important points. And if I may just quickly tell you those 5 points.
Yes.
I think Carla would have benefited. So number 1 is bargaining power. When you're entering into a contract negotiation, you need to understand what is your level of bargaining power. For example, when I'm negotiating a deal for popcorn, I know that I have a stronger bargaining power in certain things than if I'm negotiating on behalf of a brand new artist who's just on the scene. And I have to appreciate that in how I go about it. Number 2, an accounting clause. What is an accounting clause? This basically says that if somebody is supposed to be giving you money, this company is supposed to be giving you money, you need to be able to get periodic statements every 3 months, as it usually is, showing what money you have earned net profit. So those accounting clauses are key to have in your contract. The third one is connected. It's an audit clause. That clause allows you to go in with your accountant and to look at the books of the company to find out if they're actually giving you the money that you're supposed to be getting. That's also vital to have an audit clause. The fourth one is you need to look at your income clauses, and I hit on it earlier. You need to ensure and pay attention to what the entity says they're giving you in terms of money. How much is going to be recouped? How many deductions are going to come from this money? What is it really that you're going to end up with in your hand at the end of the day? And finally, an exit clause is crucial. You need to ensure that if you get into a long-term contract, you have a way of getting out of that contract. If, for example, the company that you contract with breaches the agreement, disappears, is incompetent, it just takes inordinately long to do things, you always want to be able to exit that contract. So for me, those are 5 areas that I would say any contract you look at, concentrate on those 5 areas and they will help you along even without my services, which I still hope you come to me for.
You know, the case of Kesha comes to mind, and while it is a bit foggy in my head, I do recall that she had a problem getting out of her contract, and I think somehow it's timed her career, didn't it? If I'm remembering correctly.
Absolutely, and if I may say, everybody remembers TLC, that fantastic R&B group.
Oh yes.
They had one of the worst contracts in history, where they thought they were rich and they were paying down on cars and houses because of a record deal, and pretty much everything was taken back from them, and they ended up having to, I believe, file for bankruptcy at some point because of how bad the deal was. Same things happened to Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and others. I mean, even the biggest artists, they really have to look at what they're getting and who's taking advantage of it.
How do you deal with those situations, Daddy Benz? For example, I mean, so there are producers, there are composers, there are writers, there's a whole heap of people, and I suppose you talk about synchronization and so on, but how do you deal with contracts in these cases for the artist that has this team?
For the artist, for each artist, as I said, it's obviously it's different, but in most cases for the producers, I just started managing JLI like a year now, the first composer producer that I'm managing. And before my input, he just used to like also get some contracts, ask a family member to review and continue, his life. And I'm like, what about later on? As I said, the accounting class, how often do they account, about these projects to you? Who will pay you? Where will it go? Those questions there were no answers for. So that's when I had to introduce him to one of my, close attorneys that I utilize the services, and I had to get him on board and started clearing. And 6 months later, he got sampled by Drake, And the first email that came in from Drake was a buyout. And the first thing was like, how much? I'm like, not how much. It's not a how much buyout situation. It's how we want to structure this and going back to them. So let's get some advice, and then we can just share correspondence in how we would like to just tell them that that's not where our mind is at. I just proceeded, and that was a live example of how to protect their interests in even their creations, and not just having them just as I said, working on their own without having any support in legal advice of how to protect for the future, especially in publishing and in royalty shares. Some of the contract, the producer contract, that's what I went through with him, and then I started getting a lot of artist side A contracts for Evil Chronics, and also the side artist contracts as well for the featured ones. So it's just getting the right legal support in vetting each one correctly. Some have advances, some don't have any advances because they want a shared interest in the master, or what they call it, a swap deal, where I record for you, you give me a project in return. So I've been doing most of the swap deals just to protect the interests of both artists, so that they know that the same interest you give it, that's the same interest you receive. So video support, like shooting the music videos, etc. You just have to ensure that you have those supports in a contract in these times. So it's very important.
What about the I know in seminar 2 that we're going to be looking some more at NFTs and so on, but I don't think we can talk about contracts without looking at that briefly. Ronald, I mean, this is a digital age, and this is a whole area that we are just beginning to understand. How does the artist, even begin to deal with this?
So it's interesting. I think it was Zachary and I who were talking about it earlier, about NFTs, which are non-fungible token. Essentially, the easy way of describing it is it's a digital certificate of ownership. So it can show proof of ownership of your digital work. A lot of artists are using it, meaning painters, digital artists and painters and things like that are using them to sell their work. The discussion that Zachary and I were having is whether or not it's a bit of a craze, right? And I think right now it is. That doesn't mean that there's no viability to it. But what it means is that the market will always correct itself in terms of what really NFTs do. The bottom line is anything that allows an artist or a creative person to show ownership in the digital space, whether it is of a song, whether it is of an album, their image on a t-shirt or a virtual t-shirt, to me, it's empowering and it's good, because it means that you're taking the power out of the hands of what used to be big conglomerates and big businesses, and you're putting it into your own hands. The pitfalls is that, again, the market will correct itself, meaning what everybody thinks that it's all these NFTs are of great value right now. But who knows what's going to happen 1 year from now, and whether these things will be virtually priceless or not priceless, without value, and whether they will be useful. And so the key thing is to read about NFTs, understand how you, especially even the music industry, can use them, but don't get carried away with the fad and let's just wait and see how it works itself out. It's good to get it on the front end, by the way. So for example, we may want to do, a Chronix, one of a kind or 10 of a kind images of Chronix in different poses. And you can sell those. And the beauty of an NFT, you can sell them on the platform. And then when they're resold, you earn money from the resale of those and the increase in value. And so people who are great, like Chronics and so on, there is a good chance that people will buy them one and they'll resale. But my last point I want to make with NFTs is that I don't think it's ready yet. And here's what I mean. There's too high a barrier for entry to get an NFT. Even I am having problems when I have to go on a platform. I have to buy the digital currency. I have to look and see what NFTs I think are valuable. I then have to go through the process of trying to obtain that. When the barrier to entry becomes low, and I can just run my credit card and get an NFT sent to me, or just upload an NFT and it's in a marketplace immediately, things will get better.
Well, we're all holding our breath for that, right, Khaled? We're waiting for that. But in the meantime, I think we're all getting on board, you know.
I have one point NFT is that it being a token of security and ownership in a decentralized world, we are looking on it as what's a community value. So some person might say, okay, we're building a venue and 5,000 seat venue. So each person who owns this NFT is basically a part owner in the venue. You know, so when there are concerts and profit sharing, them getting them split. They're getting their point, etc. Ethereum or whatever token or coin, you know, utilized. So it's there, they have value, but the ones that don't have value is just ones that are just images with no additional community built out or benefits.
You're not talking about Melania Trump now, are you?
No.
Zachary, do you want to jump in here, Zachary? On this whole business?
Just to agree with Barnes 100%. There is actually a project that I've been in discussions with Chronics and same project and some architects overseas. So we're contemplating, we're looking at new ways of monetizing creative content, right? So do I think the model is Scarlett has a wicked new song, so she needs to go to the studio, voice it, and then sell it as an NFT? No, that actually makes no sense. But people don't understand that. They just think that, oh, yeah, man, I'm going to put on my tune as an NFT and I'm going to own it and sell it. It just doesn't work that way. And Ronnie can spend some money with him and he can explain to the fallacy of that thinking. But Ronnie is right. I do believe that it is certainly a bit of a bubble. My brother Jeremy and I have spoken about this at length. He's also quite a bit of an expert on it. And anytime you see something that is popping up where everybody seems to be jumping on it, chances are, like Olint or Cash Plus, Cash Y, whatever it's called, it's not real. You know, people call me all the time, yo, what do you think about this Forex trading? No, you can't go online and do a course and join up and pay $100 US a month for a year and become a Forex trader and become a billionaire and buy the Lamborghini. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way.
There's so much coming at us, right, Khaled? And so it really makes sense to have people who are in the business like Zachary and Guadalupe helping us to understand what is going on, because I'm here very stressed out about the digital wallet and what do I need to be doing now? I need to get into this cryptocurrency thing, and boy, what about NFTs? I mean, there's just so much coming at us.
I don't know if the intention was to reveal it, but that concept of using the new technology to find a new way to have shared ownership is brilliant. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about that.
Brilliant. New ways of monetizing content. I made a note of it.
The community, NFT is about community. So it's it's getting people involved from early. So when the project is ready, we have the funding to actually build it out. Then it's value. There's some value in real life. Actually value in the real life.
Yeah. I really love it. It is change or die, and we're kind of riding with that. I know we have just a few minutes to go, so I want to get to so many of our listeners, audience who have been writing in. And Father Roots on YouTube says, an artist without a team is adrift in a turbulent sea full of insurmountable obstacles. There is not enough financial capacity in the reggae dancehall space to grow new talent. How do you respond, Khaled?
Sorry. I find that, yes, an artist is adrift, but there are ways that we can refocus ourselves, connect with the network, and be able to drive it forward. So it's not as doomsday as it may seem.
Daddy Barnes, there is not enough financial capacity in the reggae dancehall space to grow new talent.
Financial capacity. Literally, we need. You said the 90s, Zachary can share more in it, but there was funding. Like dancehall wasn't becoming that world sound because of just luck. It was financial injection. So yes, we are missing it, but I believe there are a lot of investors here on the island and involved in music, but just need to reinvest and focus on not just putting it wild, but with a project plan down to the T, down to the core. That's why the different elements of the team they're important. The accountant, the financial advisors, and just to structure that arm so that when you're getting into a project, down to the mixing cost is noted. And you need to know if you need to recoup it or you're gonna or it's non-recoupable. So yes, I agree. There
is hope. I'd really love that answer. And then Neela Ibanks says, what happens when the artist wants to explore a new genre or direction? Will artistic evolution be shifted in favor of a palatable production? The artist can have insight into the future that the industry cannot see yet. How can now sounds be manifested if managers do not allow for change? Who wants to take that? Khaled?
I would imagine that, so an artist making a directional shift is a huge gamble, It can work or it can doom them to failure. Sometimes the palette of the audience for the artist is just one way, as Zachary alluded to, pretty boys singing love songs, right? If the manager isn't on board and the artist truly believes in it, then he needs to, or she needs to find, or they need to find a different direction, a different manager, a different leadership team in order to make that happen. But by and large, I think most managers appreciate that the creative talents shouldn't be questioned too much. It is the job for me of a manager isn't to say, this is how you must do it. The job of a manager is to help the talent craft their talent in a way that makes money, right? And it's not for the manager to say, oh no, you can't go in that direction, it doesn't make sense. It's a matter of, okay, well, if you're gonna go in this direction, which is completely opposite to where your fan base is at, this is how you do it. Jamaica's had some success, ballheads going Rastafarians going Christian, internationally you would have seen like Garth Brooks trying to build a new persona, and that didn't work out. But then you see Pink moving from a label dolly to someone really in her own. So it's a gamble, but you have to trust the talent of the artist.
And Gina Sweetness says they need education on the business side of the business on their level of understanding. And also artists need to build and maintain positive relationships.
And on that note, if I may, yes, and let me lower my raised hand here in Zoom as well. I'm curious from the panel. I mean, obviously, Ron went all the way through school, Ewan went all the way through school. Attorneys, I like that. Zachary didn't go to school for music. I didn't go to school for music. Daddy Barnes, did you go to school for music?
No.
Right, yet still all of us and the business side of music are all in it and doing well at it. So it's really, we need to educate ourselves if the structure isn't there to educate us.
All right, well, I'm just gonna go.
Can I just add to say that all of, Carlet, Daddy Barnes, Zachary, that is the model to follow. If that because you can be a great attorney and go to school for 50 years and not understand the music industry whatsoever. You have to immerse yourself in the industry. The only reason why I think, if I may, that I am a successful entertainment attorney is because all of them, for what they've done, they've become experts in their field. And they've gone to the real school. There's a school of getting immersed in it.
School of Hard Arts. Yeah, so the experiential knowledge is critical. Khaled, you had your hand up again. I'm not quite sure if you wanted to come in here, but what I'm going to do anyway
That
is
was
that
me
with
applauding the point.
oh, that was an applause. All right. What I'm going to do now is just to go around the table and to have each person quickly do a wrap up. We have only 3 minutes left, so take 30 seconds. And I'll start with you, Zachary. Just your final comments.
Final comments. And taken a direction that has not necessarily allowed us to grow and expand to the heights that we should. I do believe that there is a very bright future when you look at people like Adane Barnes, artists like Chronix and others that have genuine global appeal. Then there's still hope for the music, and there is a certain level of professionalism and management and structure with the likes of Ronnie and Carlette, etc., that are willing to stay in the game to see it through and to help. Right, and I certainly I will always be the defender of dancehall. I mean, I went to TEDx, I spoke at Birmingham University. The title given to me was Dancehall CEO, so I accept it. And even though I spend 99% of my time in the financial world trying to raise money and close deals and grow businesses, I'm still passionate about the music, and I'm never going to leave it.
Good to hear that. I mean, we have something else in common there, Zachary. We're dropout from law school 1 year at you, and that was it. And then you Birmingham University, so you were at my alma mater. Daddy Ben, sorry. You see, I'm calling you Ben, just work with it. My apologies, Daddy Ben.
Yeah. We just need to keep encouraging the younger ones who are coming after, because I can now say, yes, I've seen a change, a new era. The coffee wasn't around when we started. And I remember when coffee first manager, Kanija, he took coffee to me, and we just having an open discussion about the plans and such. And I'm happy. I saw her recently. I was like, you remember 2017? And she laughed. And I said, remember, I'm just a stay focused, stay in the lane. And she just gave her a gig. And I was like, just remember that always. Because the younger artists just need to just have faith in what they're doing and aim for quality. Just scale the business for quality, standards.
Ronald?
So I know people who know me know I'm not a stuffy lawyer, but there have been people out there, when they hear lawyer, they think stuffy lawyer. Let me just say that I've loved and been immersed in reggae and dancehall music since I've been a small child, through my parents, thankfully, and through friends and so on, and getting up there and getting into the party promotions. I was one of the first events that brought hardcore, what they call downtown sounds into uptown areas, along with sounds that exactly would have. I'd have Stone Love, I'd have Exodus 4x4 and those things. So I've been immersed in this business for a very long time. My advice would simply be this. You want to be successful, immerse yourself in industry, learn, read, talk to people like the other persons on this panel who have the knowledge to do it. So get good advisors. Let us try to unify the industry. And the purpose of the unification is to be able to lobby, whether it be government or international entities, for funding and for legislation to change that benefits the industry, whether it is the importation of goods and services that are beneficial to the entertainment industry, protection against infringers by having a fund for lawyers and accountants to be able to go and audit internationally. But the key thing is we do have to increase the structure, we do have to increase the unity, and I think we can get there.
All right, Carlette, as you give your last comment, Sammy Dread on YouTube says, will structure affect the unique cultural expressionism in our music, which can be creatively disruptive to expected norms, both locally and internationally? Just bear that in mind as you give your last comment.
Right, well, the short answer is no, and Zachary had alluded to it, that needs to be a vibe and then structure behind that vibe, right? So my final thought is that talent gets you there, but structure keeps you there. And that structure, or as Zachary said, that management doesn't have to be tremendously formal, but you have to be deliberate in what it is that you do in order to ensure that you have long-term success, not just the one hit, but a career that is driven by success, however it is that you define success.
We told you it was a distinguished panel, and now you know. We weren't lying. Ewan, I'm going to give you the very, very last word.
Thank you very much. Thanks everybody for making us for making us correct in choosing this kind of panel to have the conversation. Clearly, a lot of depth. I mean, Daddy Barnes probably with the shortest number of years, but no less in experience. To Zachary, who, well, Zachary and Carlette, I'm not sure which one of them is 12 years versus Daddy Barnes 10, because I'm not going to talk about the 30 years, Carlette. I'm not going to, because that also ages me, and I refuse to accept that. But I want to thank everybody, Ron, my colleague, my friend, for bringing such richness to this conversation. The textures of structure, because there are people who believe that when we say structure, we mean confinement. And that is not what we're talking about. Of course, structure, I'm happy also that Zachary took it to government structure versus personal structure. You know, we talk about corporate structure. How do people see the entertainment industry? There are people, the panel here is proof. There are professionals who are able to talk the talk and walk the walk in terms of bringing professionalism, bringing structure, but also bringing flexibility to what we do. There is no way to stay at the top without structure. There are several ways to get there, and Khaled said it beautifully. So I want us to look at the success stories globally. Our biggest success story in Jamaica, we celebrate today, Bob Marley. And if you check the structure of his system, you have the answer there. Nobody has gotten there yet, and I'm not sure that there's anybody that has that kind of structure still, in terms of the way it has rolled itself out into groups of companies that have lived on beyond it. And it is a fitting way to start Reggae Month, the conversation about structure, the conversation about business, the conversation about industry, because this is in fact Jamaica's diamond, the music industry that we have. Thanks, everybody.
Brilliant. And I know there's an upcoming concert. It is just about to start. Anybody have information on that can share with us? The Dennis Brown concert, isn't at 8 o'clock? Well, it is. So try and find the links and check out that concert. I want to thank you so much, Khaled, Ronald, Daddy Barnes, Zachary Harding, and you and Julia Vaz, and the team here at IRFM, Tristan and Shamara and the team, and the Reggae Open University, who this evening kicks off a celebration of Route 77, Bob Marley's 77th birthday. The Bob Marley Group of Companies, thank you so much. The Jamaica Reggae Industry Association and the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports. Thank you so much. And to IRFM, thank you all. One love, walk good, tell them other one howdy. See you tomorrow.
Blessings.
Jamaica, home of the resilient, passionate and hard-working. A people and a nation who have achieved and defied all odds, working to keep their economy growing, their country thriving, from investments made in innovative opportunities and exports demanded globally. We have a vision, now within our grasp, where Jamaica becomes the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. We will not let go of this vision. we will grow. We will overcome these challenging times and look to the future with hope and positivity. These are special times. The world as we know it has changed, but home will always be in our hearts. And in Jamaica, you can always find a home. Think you know Jamaica? Look again. You will be surprised.
Sometimes it really feels like hope has left us with no option, and then sometimes we get so caught up in what we think life should be. Feel we've lost enough. Our hearts become slowly feeling so much pain, and we can't see past the stormy weather. But it'll get better, 'cause we are stronger than any obstacle. Oh, yeah, we are braver than what we've been taught. We've been taught. Strong, yes we are. Powerful, yes we are. We can make it through every single day. Every single day. Fearless we are. We are great, yes we are. We can make it through every single thing.
An educational symposia on reggae.
Yeah,
February is Reggae Month. Reggae Month is February, when Jamaica invites the world to come to Mecca, Reggae Mecca, and come catch the rhythm like no place else on earth, only in Jamaica.
and that's how I made to give him the door. Free, I'm delighted. January, say my passion ignited. Got the music, get me excited. I'm coming like a potion.
We certainly hope you have enjoyed Reggae Bash thus far, and you know we are far from ending. This man they call the Crown Prince of Reggae.
No one is immune to mental illness. Your age, race, gender, social class, or economic status is no match for addictive behaviors, anxiety or eating disorders, depression, or schizophrenia. What is having a good social support system. As the saying goes, in times of test, family is best. Unfortunately, many are denied the benefit of the support of family and friends because of stigma and an oppressive silence around mental illness. Let's put an end to the silence.
Speak up.
Speak now.
End the stigma.
Share your story.
End the stigma.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Whenever you hear the following tone, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, will be giving information on an emergency situation affecting the island. Please be on the alert and listen to your radio and television for further information. This was a test of the emergency alert system, brought to you by ODPEM.
It is very unusual to get COVID
after you take the vaccine. But of course, if you've only taken your first dose and you're within 2 to 4 weeks, then your body has not responded fully to the vaccine dose yet. And if you're exposed to COVID, you could get it. Once you get both doses of the vaccine, then you are certainly protected against severe COVID. Very few persons may get infected or mild symptoms, but most people will not get severe COVID, will not need to go to hospital, and they will not die from COVID.
Surely goodness and mercy shall follow us all the days of my life. And you know what? No wish to be with no evil man. There'll come the day you'll be with him by the Father's hand. Liverpool children. Oh, Liverpool children. I could never betray. What do you say about say? Take it away. Before dishonor, I could never betray my brother. Before dishonor, I could never betray my brother. No matter what the world has offered, enough respect to my brother. No matter what the world has offered, enough respect to my brother. Hey, go away, stay away. You ain't got no culture. Go away, stay away. You bout to the vulture. Go away. Before one of his words pass away, yeah, oh well, going astray, you bout to the vulture, go away, stay away, Lord, I said you ain't got the culture, go away, whoa, yeah. these words pass away. Yeah, oh well, don't astray, give out to the vulture. Go away, stay away, Lord. I said you ain't got no culture. Go away, go away, boy, yeah. Go away, stay away, really, 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 yeah. Go away, stay away, well, really, really. Go away, stay away, really, 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 yeah. Go away, stay away now. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Really, really, really. Greetings! I greet you all in the divine name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who has this day revealed himself in the personality of his imperial majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie First, Jah, ever living, ever faithful, ever sure. I also greet you through the 12 tribes of Israel, which was once lost and scattered, but is now found here in the island of Jamaica by beloved prophet Dr. Vernon Carrington. I also greet you through the Orthodox faith, which is one not of rich nor rights, but a function of the heart. In other words, to be born again. Are you all ready? Take it away. Hold on. Come on, Daddy. Yeah. I've got to get myself together. Yeah. Can't afford to let my faith go. You know, if the sun comes shining, my sisters are all smiling. The one is a dying, my people are dying. We are living in the love of the Father, living in the house of the Almighty, living in the love of the Father, living in the house of the Almighty. Yeah. Whoa, 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 yeah. Days of destruction every day. Oh no, not unto a wise man who will see. Numbers and fall. He goes down for a reason. God is giving him a meter to the foundation. He'll have to go down. Foundation, charge him down to the foundation. He'll have to go down. Foundation, whoa. Destruction will never be. Oh no, not unto a wise man who will see. He knows it's all. The east numbers and fall. He goes down for a reason. Jack is giving him a meter to the foundation. He'll have to go down. Foundation. Judge it down to the foundation. He'll have to go down. Foundation. Whoa. Hold up. Whoa. All right. Oh, oh, really, 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 yeah. Whoa, whoa. down and lonely. Since you've been away, I've been missing you. Try to understand the reason you left me, where you were going to. Y'all sing along with me. Woo, 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 woo. Baby, I've been missing you. Yeah. Tell me why the road turned. Whoa, whoa, ooh, ooh. Baby, I've been missing you. Yeah. Tell me why the road turned. Oh, baby, yeah. As I look around, I see things that remind me. When I see you smile, it makes my heart feel with joy. I can still recall nights we spent together, where you were going to live. Woo, 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 woo. Baby, I've really been missing you, baby. Why the road turn time? Ooh, ooh. Baby, I've really been missing you, baby. Why the road turn? Why did the road turn? Why did the road turn now? Why did the road, the road, the road, the road, oh, yeah. Why did the road turn now? Why did the road, the road, the road, oh, yeah. Hold on, hold on, whoa, 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 hey, 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 all right, whoa, hey. Remember that. Y'all remember the song? Now that you are here with me, let's not waste no time. Oh, yeah. I'd like to run my fingers through your hair, oh yeah, and love you all night long. Whoa, whoa, baby, touch Georgia anywhere. Oh yeah, you turn me on. Oh yeah, I'd like to run my fingers through your hair, and love you. Let me hear y'all sing along with me. Woo, 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 woo. Baby, I've been really missing you, baby. Why, child? Yeah. Woo, woo. Baby, I've been missing you. Yeah. Tell me why the road turns. Hey. Why did the road turn? Why did the road turn out? Why did the road, the road, the road, the road, oh, the road, oh yeah. Why did the road turn out? Why did the road, the road, the road, whoa, oh yeah. Marcel, are you ready? Should I have faith in you? What do you say? Oh yeah, Mama Bear. Well, no, yeah. Should I have faith in you? Should I put my trust in you? And should you let me down? Should I float around? Why should I think this way? Thinking that you're going away. You break away, we stay together. I've got to tell you this. Should I not try to resist? Oh, it just can't go on like this. Pretending it's you. You make me feel so bad. You make me feel so sad that I'm let me how could I ever go on living this way? Acting like a child. Really, you don't know. I need you. You don't. Whoa, no. Oh, I'm a man. You're the rebellious one. Step aside now. Another man who wants to take. What do you say, myself? Take it. Boy, this is no disrespect by the man. No disrespect. Step aside now. Another man who wants to take over. Yeah. 'Cause he don't know what he got. Now it's time to lose it. Tell me, are you crazy? Leave me alone. And she's the winner. So you, whoa, whoa, feeling good. Don't know what to do. She will comfort you. She's a dream come true. She will be your friend. Think that it's the end. She's always around, always around. Oh, yeah. Mama, man, look it. I won't come down on you with like brimstone of fire in my heart. My desire is for you to be true and strong. Then someday you get to know where you went wrong. For how could I ever go on living this way? Acting like a child, so young and gay. Really, you don't know why it needs to be done. You don't know how it feels to be good. Whoa, no. Don't know you. Don't know how it feels to be loved. I said you don't know how it feels to be loved. Oh, no, no, no. No. What do you say, myself? Are you ready to go home? Are you ready to go? So you want some more? Take it away. Taking you back in time. From the album Visions of Dennis Brown, this one goes like this. That little girl was born on the ghetto side of town. She knows that never stay at home. She's always on the run. Your mama is wondering where you are. Yes. What do you see at night when you're under the stars? Well, yeah. Baby, keep on running and you won't get far. Stay at home, sister, stay at home. Don't let your mama down. Don't be around. No. Ooh, boy. No. Boy, yeah. Stay at home. Sister, stay at home. Don't let your mama down. Don't be around. Your mama is wondering where you are. Yes. But do you see at night when you're under the stars? Oh, yeah. Baby, keep on running and you won't get far. No. You like to travel lean and fast and Chinese. You travel with a group of a movie stars. Yes, sister, stay at home. Don't let your mama down. No. Stay at home. Ooh, boy. Stay at home. Well. What they wanna write, yet the weak can't believe what they wanna believe. Jaja bring forth a new star. No, Jaja bring forth milk and a new star. Let the news never write what they wanna write, yet the weak can't believe what they wanna believe. Jaja bring forth a new star. No, Jaja bring forth milk and a new star. Bring it on, yeah. Shall we meet love? Oh, yeah. We don't care for the little job. No, Jaja bring forth a little star. No, Jaja bring forth milk and a little star. Let the sun fall around, we all who is strong, and give Technology the power to be true and strong. Jaja bring forth a little star. No, Jaja bring forth milk and a little star. Bring it on, yeah. Bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it on. honey, can you mean it? Come on. What did James say? Are you ready? Lovely, yeah, look it. Honey, can you mean into my life? Yeah. You're forever here. Yes, I I'm extending, excited. I found newly found love. Yeah, you'll always stay in separate rooms. You are the sunshine of my life. So much excitement when you are around. There's so much about you that words cannot say. Makes you want to love you in a special way. Honey, can you mean into my life? Oh, lie, you're forever here. Separate. Whoa, whoa. Brother Green on saxophone. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Look it. You are the sunshine of my life. There's so much inside me when you are around. There's so much about you that words cannot say. Makes you want to love you in a special way. Honey, can you mean into my life? Yeah, you're forever here. Separate boy, boy, inseparable we are now. Oh, we're now, inseparable we are now. No, no more, no more, no more than I wrong, no lady. No, 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 inseparable. It's not who we are now. Lady, lady, whoa. Thank you. Are you ready to go? You want some more? Take it away. We'd like to change the mood, change the pace, just a bit for you and yours. As we do this one for you, hope you'll enjoy it. Boy, this one goes like this. Maybe I didn't love you quite as often as I should. Baby, I didn't told you that I'm happy. If I didn't feel second best, Girl, I'm sorry I was blind. You were always on my mind. You were always on my mind. Baby, I never told you that I'm happy that you're mine. And maybe I never told you, girl, all those sad and lonely times. Little things I should have said and done. Girl, I'm sorry I was blind. You were always on my mind. Tell me that your sweet love hasn't died. And give me one more chance to keep you satisfied, to keep you satisfied. Well, baby, whoa, yeah. Little things I should have said and done, I just never took the time. Yeah, you were always on my mind. 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 You were always on my, always, baby. Sorry I was blind. Always, baby. Always on my mind. Thank you. How you feeling? How you feeling, honey? Whoa, now, let me hear you sing on me. Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, look, well, love's got a hold on me. Well, love's got a hold on me. Girl, you got me here tonight. Can the feeling is right? I do all the time. Let's make love till the morning light. Your love's got a hold on me. Well, love's got a hold on me, oh baby. Well, love's got a hold on me. Well, love's got a hold on me. Don't try easy. Let your feelings flow. Let your love let it go. For your love got a hold on me. Repeat it again now. Got a hold on me. Baby, oh love got a hold on me. Well, baby, well, love got a hold on me. Take it away. Oh, baby. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, rubber double we a play, oh yeah. Strictly rubber double we a play. Fair stuff like golden day on the meadow. Fair stuff like golden day on the meadow. And if the corn is as high as an elephant's eye, and it looks like it's climbing clear up to the sky. Oh, 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 what a beautiful morning. Oh, 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 what a beautiful day. Yeah, addy, addy, addy. Got such a beautiful feeling. Daddy, everything is going my way. Would you like to hear some more? Wait one minute. Would you like to hear some more? All right now, yeah. Look at it. Oh, the sound of Oceanius is just like music. All of the sound of Ochi is just like music. She don't shed a tear, no wonder about, but only a little battle cow gets winking your eyes. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. Haddy, haddy, hi. Got such a beautiful feeling. Daddy, everything is going by. Take it away. Revolution, revolution, revolution. Everyone now. Are you feeling out there? Look. This was a man. I play you up and down all the time. You're not playing in any style. Played all the while. You're not playing in a ragamuffin style. Played in a different style. Played any time. Played all the while. If this world were only mine, yes, hey, if this world were only mine. Look at it. Loving combination, you give me inspiration. Good vibration, both day and night. Whoa, whoa, whoa. day and night, giving me a good life. From day and night, giving me a good life. So if you wanna live forever, what we gotta do? Boy, if you wanna live forever, we gotta love each other. Boy, whoa, wave your hands in the air if you love reggae music. Wave your hands in the air if you love reggae music. Oh, Churias, love you, love you, love you. Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye.
What's that to us, many friends? Just take off the below. One time, did sit down in a class and report. Then only set the road and go on with the road.
Jamaica, the land of Bob Marley, Marcus Messiah Garvey, Usain Bolt, and of course, Reggae Month, the only month-long reggae music festival on planet Earth, where something reggae happens every day in the month of February, ranging from mega reggae concerts to reggae films, reggae award ceremonies, and educational symposia on reggae. February is Reggae Month. Reggae Month is February, when Jamaica invites the world to come to Mecca, Reggae Mecca, and come catch the rhythm like no place else on earth, only in Jamaica.
And that's how I made to give him the door. Breathe, I'm delighted. Jano tell me passion ignited. Got the music get me excited. I'm coming like a potion.
If ever there was a time to take care of your mental health, it is now.
Now, when your physical health so clearly impacts your emotional health.
Now, when we need to talk and listen to each other.
Now, when